Piyush Goyal was on record saying that IT exports could become $1 trillion opportunity. Now, my question is, do you guys foresee that in your conversations with management and corporations around the world? And if so, whether it's $1 trillion or what have you, but if you believe this is a longer term opportunity, how are you playing it? I mean, large cap, mid cap, a mix of both, bias towards the expensive ones, even if bias towards the high growth ones, even if they're expensive, or buying value within IT. Can you tell us a bit about how you're playing IT?
So, Neeraj, I think I'll try to break this question down because there's, maybe there are a few questions and one question's about the IT sector. So, if you see what happened during COVID, until pre-COVID, the sector was really not seen as a very high growth sector. There was some maturation element to it, as we all know. And it also, the multiples had contracted a bunch. Okay? And I don't think you had a growth across the board, across the larger names and the big names. I think that changed after COVID because I think everyone rushed at that time to get onto the cloud, largely. So cloud became a very large opportunity. And if you see with Infosys, it's now what they define as new age or cloud, digital, SMAX, analytics, all that is close to 60% of their revenue base and growing at a very fast pace. So someone like Infosys is clocking 18 to 20% volume growth, which is quite ridiculous for a company with a market cap as large as it is, right? So it's clearly telling you that there's a rising tide, right? And pretty much a lot of the large names are going like that, especially the guys who are the digital enablers and who identified the opportunity quickly. So, people will understand from their own usage of apps and phones, their own, Zoom calling, so much more is happening. Every business worth its salt needs to get onto an app or needs to get onto the cloud because there's no other way to do it. After that comes a whole bunch of analytics that you can run because you have digitally enabled customers, right? So if you look at the entire fintech universe today, it's changing so dramatically in front of all of us, right? And I think that's happening in even the smallest of industries. So that opportunity is secular. I don't think that industry opportunity is going away anytime soon. It's probably one of the most visible opportunities out there, right? Now, if you look at the larger names, like I told you, they're probably growing anywhere between 15 to 20%. The smaller names, the mid-sized names are growing faster. And of course, there are smaller companies over there that provide different types of services like ER&D, right? So, the way we designed our portfolios, we had one of the larger names. We had a mid-cap name and we took on board some of the risk that comes with taking on ER&D names, because we thought that's a very dynamic, high growth sector. So we've been looking at it like that. We've been straddling across the market cap spectrum, across different products. But what's easy to do here is the bellwethers themselves are growing so quickly. So it's quite a long runway for growth, and it gives us a lot of opportunity for stock picking.
The thing, Charandeep, is that there is a bit of a striking difference in the valuations between the bellwethers as well, right? What a TCS or an Infy are doing versus what a HCL Tech is trading at. I mean, I can ignore Wipro because of the lack of growth. I'm just saying there's a bit of a dichotomy out there. And then if I just look at the broader end of the spectrum, those are companies northwards of 40,000 crores of market cap. So they're not small caps by any means. And they are growing anywhere between 35% as well. So right. I'm trying to understand what is your argument when you're picking one over the other?
I think, to be very honest with you, it's very difficult. When there are 30, this reminds me of the time when in the last decade, there were like 30 private sector banks and 20 NBFCs all going up in price and everything was making a new high and earnings were going through the roof. I mean, that continued much longer than we anticipated, Now you don't find that, by the way. I think post-COVID, it just settled that score quite easily. There's 3 or 4 guys growing the earnings. Most people are struggling. Probably something like that will happen, but it's a long way off, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Okay.
And I tell you, it becomes hard, right? Understanding the idiosyncrasies of one business over the other is not so easy. But one thing we rely on, right, is the management, right? The guys running the business, how much common sense they talk, how much governance, quality of governance, depth of management, talent pool, ability to retain talent. These things are very important. And, I tell you, the leaders will always continue to disproportionately take share away. That's going to happen. So, which is why I said, you stick with the leaders, the bellwethers, whichever one you want to buy, you decide. वो आपका comfort है management के साथ. That's your ability to decide that, okay, I like this guy. I think these guys are doing a great job. They're good governance, whatever your parameters. So I think that's the way we look at it, and we've chosen our basket. So I think we're going to stick with it for now.